Good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. This is Speedgaming 5, and this is a Group C matchup between GamingWhileDad and McBobX. This is the Mega Man 2 Randomizer Tournament, and I am Cyberable9 alongside LB Creed. This is the first time actually in this tournament we actually had two people in the booth for once. So good to have a little help finally.
Yeah, you can argue we being short-staffed, but we're, in spite of us being a small group, we're tight-knit, we're good, we're just ready to get another race going. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and get this party started. Don't you think, SB?
Yeah, sorry, I'm the one holding the gates here.
But yeah, as Cyberable gets our runners up and going, as said this before, this is a Group C matchup between GamingWhileDad and McBobX. GamingWhileDad has had a race already against Sinister Sama, but due to circumstances beyond their control, we had to postpone their final match. Their Game 3 is pending, due for a later date. Meanwhile, McBobX, this is his first race in the Mega Man 2 Randomizer as a whole in the tournament, so it's going to be interesting to see how McBob adapts to all the shenanigans that the Mega Man 2 Randomizer can throw at him. Of course, McBobX is a very solid Mega Man 2 zipless runner in his own right, so those skills can transfer into the randomizer. But let's see what happens as the race is about to get underway.
Yeah, that's actually why I just signed up, because I want to see how McBobX adapts from doing normal vanilla stuff to doing rando stuff. And probably got a slight delay on the timers here, but you know, we got to keep track. We'll keep track of that in the race time room as well, as both runners are choosing Flashman as their initial robot master to go to.
Yes, first off, let's talk about the rule set. What we're doing is we're doing easy mode, zipless, which is the key fact and definitely something that probably will definitely benefit McBobX. But we also have revealed stage names. We could hide them, but one of the reasons, for the sake of simplicity, we also had names turned on. And with names turned on, there's usually a little bit of a route that we usually have, well, a quote-unquote route, as far as the randomizer can go, and Flash is one of those starting points that we like to do early. It's a very short stage, and you can get a very easy E-Tank, well, easy as far as the rando would allow, given that enemies can be randomized. No, enemies are randomized in this game, so hopefully the enemies are in favorable spots so our runners, if need be, can get that easy E-Tank. It looks like both our runners, GamingWhileDad somehow takes a little bit of a spill, so he won't be able to get that E-Tank that McBobX was able to get.
Yeah, I think GamingWhileDad missed his input there, because he got the pulse buffer in time to stay on that platform, but I think he just missed his jump input. So McBobX will have that E-Tank going into this Quickman fight. He's a bit of a jumpy boy, but his buster's soft in this flash room, and looks like he's actually a slow runner, but because of the layout of the room, he's just going to run into walls. And a couple more shots for both the runners on Quickman. McBob, okay, McBob got him. Dad, there we go. Quickman goes down.
And right now, we do not have an item in sight. All of our 3 items for Mega Man 2, they are randomized within the 8 Robot Masters themselves. So while we didn't find it in Flashman stage, we would have normally held our vanilla item 3, we're gonna have to search elsewhere for any of our 3 items.
Alright, as we move down the quick shaft here, doesn't look like anything too treacherous here. No fan feeds, like not seeing that. As McBobX and GamingWhileDad will get their second and first respective E-Tanks here. As Quickman, it's another stage where we like getting E-Tanks early, as safeties are a must in this randomizer.
Lots of Joes in this corridor around the middle section of Quickman stage, but they are very paper thin. Both the mechs and the Joes are one-hitter quitters, so a much simpler stretch towards the final force beam section, which both our runners should be able to navigate very quickly. But of course, this is still Mega Man 2, this is still Quick Man stage. There are still situations where if you make one fatal misstep, these force beams can pick you off and it's back to the midpoint with you. But McBobX, being skillful as he is, was able to get out of there safely. And GamingWhileDad, just as skillful, getting out. Both of these runners are about to go to the Quick Man corridor and see what's in Quick Man's boss room.
And we want McBobX stylizing on us grabbing that one up when he went down the quick shaft. And we got a Crash Man in Quick Man's room who's also allergic to lemon, so that's nice to see. Got 2 Buster Soft Robot Masters, but you know, oh no.
McBobX getting a little greedy. It's one of those little coin flip situations where you think you have just enough energy to weather the storm, but the robot masters just end up picking you off anyway, and McBobX winds up suffering that fate. Sometimes you just gotta take that safety E-tank and just be sure to get everything done right then, right there. And we do get out of too far trouble afterwards.
As both the runners are going to go to Bubble Man stage it. Sadly, our prop tops are Buster immune, so that's definitely not an enemy set I like seeing be Buster immune. But you know, they're going to have to deal with it for this seed. As as the update for the randomizer, we've completely muted the background, so those coins from Mario 3 that would normally be flashing have been turned off. So you know, just to avoid anyone with potential epilepsy issues. As we are now at the halfway point of Quick Man stage on both screens, we got Metroids in the water here.
Yeah, we're going through Bubble Man stage. Remember that this is the zipless tournament. Normally we will have our runners probably do the zips above the ceilings in Bubble Man stage. Those, of course, that is illegal for this tournament, but also as another update to the randomizer, we have recoded zipping in that instead of zipping straight to the right whenever you're in ceilings, you actually be ejected towards the left. So those long zips that you would normally see in Bubble and in some other stages, you'll be immediately ejected the opposite way, making the bubble zip completely useless. And meanwhile, in the Bubble Man room, we found ourselves a metal in here who looks like he's a soft boy. Yep, he's a soft boy. Weak to lemons.
Yeah. That's our third one so far, and there can only be 4, I believe, right?
Yep, only 4 bosses that are weak to lemons. So right now, we've already found 3 of our 4 bosses that are weak to lemons. So it's gonna be hard pressed to find that final one. Not to mention that everyone else is going to be a little bit strong to lemons, so maybe some weapon searching is going to be found a little later on, but we'll see that as the race progresses, as we got a little bit of deviation between our 2 runners at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if Bob has been watching my streams, because this is kind of something I've been doing lately, where I go to Airman 4th after Bubble. But he does have Item 2, so he could skirt all of this right now, but he might be waiting to get to the second half of Airman stage to test that. As I don't want to jinx him just yet. That first section was rather friendly for McBobX.
Yeah, Airman stage is usually one of the most dangerous stages as far as enemy randomizations go. A lot of enemies can either slow you down or pop you off in the skies and knock you straight into pits. And these atomic chickens, they are definitely one of those enemies that can be very treacherous, especially in the second half, trying to manipulate and keep the chickens on pace so that, besides the fact of not hitting you and killing you off right through damage, you want to get them to positions where you can jump over these pits safely. And GamingWhileDad unfortunately takes a death in metal. These Joes doing, of course, even though they're paper thin, they the damage is not randomized, so they do hurt. So you gotta keep your health up in trying to deal with this particular stretch.
McBobX, not using his item 2 here, but he is making his way gradually through the stage. These chickens are actually pretty meaty, and he had to take a juice box as a safety precaution. But he is at the airman door, and you're going to find out who our boss in this room is in just a moment. And it looks like we got a wood toad waiting for us in airman's room, and he is also our 4th Buster Solve Robot Master.
McBobX able to find every single Buster Solve boss all in a row, but that pretty much confirms that the rest of our bosses probably gonna have to dig for some weaknesses if they're gonna be hard to kill with the Buster on their own, as McBobX goes to Woodman. Meanwhile, new information, we find a Flashman and Metalman stage, and as we find out, he's definitely not weak to the Busters, so off to the weapons, but he finds a quick soft weakness, and he's GamingWhileDad is gonna stick with it to dispatch of Flashman rather quickly.
Yeah, that Flashman was also rather jumpy. Also having bad flashbacks to my own Flashman fights on the conveyor belt. But between you and me, at least seeing Woodman Buster Soft, we kind of wish I would love to see Airman more often be Buster Soft. So we'll have to see what Airman looks like when we get to that point, because knowing what our Buster Soft Robot Masters are right now, it makes me kind of worried as to what we have to deal with later.
Yeah, as you alluded to, Airman, one of the more annoying Robot Masters to deal with, is not going to be soft weak to Buster. Heatman is going to be not soft Buster weak, so we know that could be a drag out fight, but since he's a later boss, we do have weapons to hopefully mitigate that situation. Meanwhile, at the top of the treehouse, a lot of chickens here, so tellies though, but McBobX is making use of the crash bomb, and it looks like it's a repeater crash bomb as well. A repeater means that while the crash bomb is even on screen, you can fire another one immediately, which is one of the weapon randomizations of the crash bomber. So that's one thing that definitely helped McBobX get through the area a little safely, while GamingWhileDad is taking care of the final dog on his way to the top of the treehouse in his own right.
And it looks like we're about to enter the net, as McBobX could be the first of our 2 runners to enter the wood room. The GamingWhileDad keeping pace, but he's still a little behind McBobX, but we won't really know who's ahead until we get to Wily stages, as we find a Boobly Man inside Woodman's room, and fortunately it's not a hugger, so that worry with knowing what our Buster Soft Weak Robot Masters are is out the window now.
Yeah, very high bubble launches, which makes Bubble Man very easy pickings. And of course, you can always just take damage from the bullets. They always do 2 damage, so you can easily damage race Bubble Man with this particular AI attack pattern. As McBobX goes to Metal, which we already seen from GamingWhileDad's side, so we're heading to familiar territory, but let's see what McBobX actually does in Metal in comparison to GamingWhileDad. As we remember, GWD did take a death in Metal, which put him a little bit behind.
Yeah. Once again, these prop tops are Buster immune, so that's a bit of a nuisance. He's gonna find out about the Joes in a few moments, guarding the Metalman door, as the factory here is just spitting them out as GamingWhileDad takes on their Boobly Man. See if he goes weakness on. He's switched to wood, which is definitely one of the ones I tend to go to when I'm trying to find a weakness for Bulbaman's, because then he can just come straight to me, especially if he's a hugger, but not in this case. So it looks like we're just going to stick with the good old lemons and just buster him down.
You didn't get to see if Atomic Fire was a charger or supercharged.
It's a charger.
It's a coin flip if you want to check for heat weaknesses. Charging style heats they do take time, but if they're a weakness, I would at least consider checking it out for that knowledge, especially for boss rushes. GamingWhileDad getting popped out by the repeater shrimps.
I was gonna say to your point about charging heat. There's definitely some robot masters you want to check that on. Like the two main ones I like to check that charging heat on. One of them is Heatman, because for some reason I don't know what it is, but at 9 times out of 10, or maybe not that much, maybe about 7 out of 10, it ends up being that charged heat on Heatman. We get that heat on heat violence. And another robot master I tend to use charged heat on is Quickman. Because at least you can time out when he's near you and just give him a full face of heat.
Well, we also have some information that is kind of a little bit of a detriment to our runners. You notice we do not have an item 1 and an item 3 available, and you know which two robot masters are left.
Yep. So McBobX with item 2 in hand is making the right choice as far as I'm concerned. Use that item 2 to platform yourself over the next section here in Heatman stage, but you also use it to get through the final section if you don't decide to take a dip into the lava, just like McBobX did right there.
Yeah, come that jump a little short and take a little bit of a lava bath, which is not healthily beneficial to Mega Man. So yeah, back to the beginning with McBobX, and let's try to do the area again. This time, actually making the jump over, and hopefully continue on with less issues as he goes to the midpoint of Heatman stage. Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad is struggling with these chickens, trying to make sure his health is good, make sure that the chickens are not in positions where he might wind up getting stuffed in the pets. And his health situation, yeah, not a good situation with the health. Yeah. Mine had to really consider using weapons. Weapons in Randomizer is actually something you really need to consider trying to use, especially for meaty enemies like these chickens. And as you can see, charge heat is pretty much doing the job here. And if you can take a look at this charge heat, it looks the weapon consumption actually pretty decent. So I wouldn't mind keeping this heat for a little bit, and it's charging relatively fast. The charge time for Atomic Fire is randomized, but unfortunately, GamingWhileDad, in spite of his best efforts, the chickens are still just taking him out.
Oh, that's a miss. Oh, I thought he missed that jump there, trying to get back to avoid the Chanky Murder, because he was afraid of. I think he was more afraid of getting locked up by the Yoku block there. But he did make it back, and he's through the Yoku section. He's going to have that item 2 on hand to get through the lava portion here, of Heatman stage here, and on his way to Heatman's door.
Yeah, McBobX doing a fantastic job of getting through a lot of the stuff that the randomizer throws at him. Aside from that little death at the beginning of Heatman stage, come to jump a little short, McBobX has been making some good time using all of his abilities that he learned from running Mega Man 2 and just adapting himself to the randomizer pretty quickly. Meanwhile, we got a vanilla heat in Heatman's room, and as we already. Oh, go ahead.
I actually thought I was trying to figure out if we had seen another vanilla robot master, because I thought this was going to be Airman, but it ends up being Heat. So I believe Airman's going to be in our crash stage at the end here, as McBobX finding Leaf Shield to be a soft weakness for that Heatman and put it good use. And we find item 3 in Heatman stage, so item 1 is behind Crashman stage.
Probably the better option of the coin flip between which was item 1 and item 3 for Heatman, because now that you have item 3, you have the better of the two methods of probably doing the crash climb. So of course you have item 3 and do the right side climb and do that area as quickly as possible. And of course we have item 2, which is just as good as item 1 for navigating the area that McBobX is about to deal with these these moving platform rooms. Yep, just set
And
about them too, and just ignore just about everything. But yeah, these lag fabians are not making it easy.
no, they are not. That's what I was gonna say. These lag fabians are definitely gonna not make things quick at all. But he's got one more section left with the lag fabians to get through with item 2. I think he's going to try and get rid of at least a couple of the big toads to speed things.
Going to switch to our leader's audio as McBobX has completed. Even though it was a little sluggish thanks to the lag fabians, he was able to get through the rest of. About to say, I thought GamingWhileDad was about to get knockbacked.
Yeah, I thought he was going to deal with the lag, the double lag knockback there. Looks like it's going to do a little. I thought he was going to do a little wall weakness there as he checked metal and crash on the wall there, but he gets oof.
The lag ended up getting him anyway, and an unfortunate game over from GWD. Gonna see if you're gonna continue or select another stage, or hang on, he's not doing anything. We might have a situation here.
Yeah, I got an eye on the race room, but he's probably thinking about it right now. But we'll see what he does as McBobX is proceeding. He's opting to go to Crashman stage next. It looks like. I think he still had another stage there. I don't know what that was.
The other stage. The other stage was air. And we know he game over from there as well, which was the reason he went to heat in the first place. Speaking of air, there's our obligatory airman sighting, or our far facsimile thereof.
I'm pretty sure he's from something else, but every time I see that airman, all I can think about is Inky's blot machine.
Well, he gotta come from some kind of ROM hack. A lot of sprites that are in this randomizer, once again, thanks to our sprite dev Charlie Boy for adding all these sprites in, painstaking work, and it's gotta probably be from a ROM hack. I just don't remember which. But regardless, we do have McBobX, our first of our racers, to defeat all 8 of our robot masters in SB. You know what time that is.
Yeah, it means we gotta guess a color of the dragon, guess a weakness, and for bonus points, guess a sprite randomization for our dragon now.
Yeah, while y'all getting your guesses for at least the color and the weakness, remember, we do have several dragon sprites available for the randomizer. We got a vanilla dragon, we have kind of like 2 sets of shades for the dragon, one a little bit pointed, and another one I like to call 80 Shades Dragon. Meanwhile, we got our dragoncorn, our dragon with a unicorn horn, our ever-loving Oats dragon, and a pure swag dragon. And I haven't been guessing these. I hadn't even guessed the ones when I did the early bird special races. So I'm gonna take the time to do a guess, and I'm gonna do with one of my favorite guesses, a monochrome dragon, mostly shades of gray, and he's gonna be weak to Crash, and it's gonna be Oats dragon.
Ooh, choosing Crash this time. I'm also going to choose a favorite of ours for this round for the dragon. I'm going to go True Blue. He's going to be Blue Dragon. It's going to be Buster Week. And I'm going to say he's going to be our Shades Dragon this time around.
But which pair of shades?
No, just the actual shades. There's a shade, and there's the Swag Dragon that has a pair of shades. There's just pure shades.
Okay. But McBobX making short work of Wallace Stage 1. Shout out to Mega Man Unlimited with Yo-Yo Man's theme on the docket. Let's see what kind of dragons we got. See,
Kiss the dragon. Mwah.
Not the best place to change your weapons during an auto scroller while having an instant kill dragon pretty much on your heels. McBobX with what normally would have been a devastating death Fortunately for him, he still has quite a buffer of a lead, so that death really did not make too much of a difference as GamingWhileDad faces off against our Airman analog and hoping to get. Ooh, Crash is
Ooh.
doing a lot of damage.
That was a great weakness, I think. And gets his item 1 for his troubles from there. So he's happy to see that item 1, I'm sure. Let's see what he decides to do next. And back to heat for him.
Are you sure I would not call that shades? Because I said that was kind of like pointing shades. The eyes are kind of weird. Honestly, I might rename that dragon, but anyway.
See, I think he looks like the, See, I felt that too, because he looks more like the, Wily Wars dragon.
But regardless of the matter, I would say it's kind of like a yellow-orange, and it's weak to Leaf Shield. So if you have that combination, then thumbs up to you. Thumbs up.
Especially if you pick Leaf Shield. Let's be honest, neither myself or Creed will ever pick Leaf Shield as a weakness.
Oh, I can pick Leaf Shield as a weakness. I just didn't pick it that time.
Normally, either of us would pick Leaf Shield.
Regardless, McBobX defeats the dragon, and we see him going to Wily Stage 2 in earnest. Also, to take notice that item 1 is our only item that has a randomized attribute. Items 2 and 3 do not have randomized attributes for reasons like that, where you have required item sections in order to get by the Wily stages. Just for those that are not in the know about how randomizations for items work.
You know, GamingWhileDad having trouble with that Chanky Maker in Heatman stage. Given absolutely just not having a good time at all. Meanwhile, McBobX pulling out Time Stopper to get through the long hallway here where we had Lightning Lords, but these blockies are going to be slightly in the way right now. I think he was looking for item 3, but he's like, wait, that's not it. He needs to get up there before he hugs that blocky again. There we go.
And while McBobX is on his way to our Pico units, we do have several sprites available for Pico, but there's one in particular that you really never want to see. But let's see if McBobX even gets it as the fight begins.
Nope, we got angry Twitch chat.
Of course, our Pico units do have 3 available weaknesses, and it looks like it's an instant shot, but it's 1-to-1. So
he's also short 1 right now, so he's got 2 now. 3.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to mention. So he's gonna have to look for another weakness in order to finish off our Twitch monsters.
Oh, and it was Leaf anyway. Don't move. Okay. Still takes us down all the same. I was like, you could just stand still. But he's like, no, I might be behind. So I can understand that sudden worry and emergency. But, you know, he's not on this side of the glass.
GamingWhileDad taking on a vanilla Heatman in the vanilla room, trying to make best of a bad situation considering the game overs that he accrued. Hopefully he will get this Heatman down and continue on to Airman and finish off at least the 8 robos. Meanwhile, McBobX is checking for wall weaknesses for a little bit, but once again tired and just decided to just say it's not worth it and move on.
Well, he didn't check the full charge heat. He just fired the 1 shot. He also didn't check air or wood, so we're down to those 3. And that's about as far as wall weaknesses that remain.
Well, regardless of the matter, McBobX is probably going to need to find out that weakness soon. He's probably going to just have to be forced to do it during the Boo Beam fights. To remind, Boo Beams and the walls do not share the same weakness, just for the sake of having ammo for the Boo Beam fight. But still, having information ahead of time can be pretty beneficial, especially for fights like that. As McBobX is heading towards the final stretch of Wily Stage 3, some arrow-looking moles to slow him down just for a little bit. But now we're at our Guts tank, which is indeed disgusting this time. Is he Buster weak? Nope, so the weapon hunt begins.
Oh, we found an air shooter. He's being extra cautious here, which I don't blame him, but he could have gone full bore, been just fine. But he does take down the Guts Dozer all the same. So good job on McBobX. He's going to have to do, go into pit row here just when he goes into Wily 4 here to refill that air shooter and maybe put some in Leash Shield.
As we go into Wally 4, Saria's theme on tap.
You know,
the Lost Rooms.
Considering the stage, this theme actually seems appropriate. Because certainly it could drive you nuts.
Yes and no. It's kind of dissonant, but at the same time, considering the Lost Rooms theme, I can sort of see it. But regardless, McBobX is having none of it and just flat out using item 2 to negate the randomized fake floors that normally would be in these two screens here, and we're just going to be moving on straight into our moving platform rooms, which could be our anxiety rooms or is just a slight little rest stop. Let's see what happens on McBob's screen.
I would call that slight anxiety, but you know, McBobX, having been in the vanilla zipless tournament, I think he knows what to do here in these rooms.
Yeah, and GamingWhileDad trucking through it all. That's game overs and all. Finally taking care of our 8 robos and about to go to the Wily Castle proper. Gonna see how GamingWhileDad does as he begins the Wily stages in earnest. But yeah, we pretty much need a catastrophic disaster in order for GamingWhileDad to even catch up to McBobX at this point.
He's on Metal Blade, so it's going to check. I thought he was going to check the weakness for on the boobies themselves, but he's on Air Shooter, so I think he's going to check the walls, and the walls are in fact weak to the Air Shooter.
Alright, so that takes care of one issue, but now what is the weakness for the turrets? Yeah, you gotta fully charge it. So it's fully charged heat. It's a one-shotter. It's not a two-shotter, fortunately. It's a quick, like I said, it's a quick charge heat, so it's actually not as bad as it could be.
It is a legit buster heat.
But there we go. The turret's down. McBobX going to the boss rush. It looks like we got some. I want to say this is Final Fantasy 2 Battle 1 for our boss rush theme.
I know I know one, but I keep thinking this is Final Fantasy 3. But you're probably right.
It could be Final Fantasy 3, but nah, I'm pretty sure it's Final Fantasy 2 Battle 1.
Like I said, that's why I believe you.
But yeah, all McBobX once again with a substantial lead. Still got to take care of this bosses. Already two bosses down on the way to our third. So clearly his race to lose. But you just gotta continue. You just gotta continue on. It's never over until the done is done on the race time.
Also, shout out to chat. They are correcting us. It is, in fact, the Final Fantasy 2 battle theme.
GamingWhileDad's about to deal with our dragon here. McBobX using that leash shield to work. It's a soft weakness, but anything to shorten that heat fight is definitely an A+ move.
Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad taking on the dragon does find Bubble as well as a weakness for the dragon, but sadly for his hubris, he does die. Meanwhile, McBobX is taking on a Boobly Man as he's got one more Robot Master to deal with in the refights here.
While he takes on that final Robot Master, we should go ahead and talk about the Wally Machine. So the Wally Machine has multiple weaknesses. It has a chance to be the Buster, but over time we have greatly reduced the odds of both faces being weak to Buster, but that chance is still there. Meanwhile, we do have multiple weapon weaknesses for the machine, potentially one for each phase, but one can be good for both phases. That is the weakness that you hope to find.
Yeah. Meanwhile, definitely not heat. It's air shooter, at least for the first phase. How about the second phase? Oh, he's switching to metal and hoping to mash. I actually would have stuck. Oh, we found Crash, but I don't think it's a long explosion. But he's not checking to see that. He's just saying, you know what, we're gonna mash this Crash into Wily's face, and we're off to Victory Road here.
Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad is gonna take another shot at the dragon. Hopefully, he's able to survive the onslaught of the dragon, and we'll see what happens. Because right now, McBobX is pretty much about to seal this race up. You see if GamingWhileDad decide to continue, or just see the writing on the wall and decide to take things up in the next race.
Yep, so McBobX is just one weakness away from sealing up this victory. Well, this hallway is looking rather vanilla-ish. I think the background is a little off, but the ceiling's all the same color. And here's our Wily. Let's see what he transforms into. Looks like he's Franken Wily here.
Yep, a literal Wily alien.
Metal. I think he checked Crash, but it didn't. Okay, there we go. All right, so not page 2.
Just to know, no Wally boss, of course, including the alien, will ever be weak to Flash. So you can always wipe Time Stopper off for Wally weaknesses.
And he finds Air Shooter. He did skip over the Buster, which is interesting, but regardless, he found the Air Shooter, and down goes the alien as McBobX blows him away and finishes with an official race time. .gg time of 35:15.
Yeah, the sea being a little rough towards our runners, but McBobX was able to weather the storm and get through the sea with the wind. And we'll see what GWD's option will be. Will he finish or will he forfeit? We definitely would like to encourage our runners to finish if they want to, but if they just feel like they're too far behind and just want to continue on with the tournament for time's sake, they have that option as well. We do allow our runners that freedom of choice.
And I think there we go. Or never mind. I think I'm ahead now.
BWD taking on our Pico Twitch monster. Finds Air Shooter. Once again, we know that it is a weakness, but it's 1-to-1, so fortunately he's not going to have enough to finish the job. We also saw both McBob exercise towards the end that Leaf Shield definitely is the go-to, so you can do Lazy Leaf strats. But let's see how... Ooh... and takes to death.
And I think he gets the message now as GamingWhileDad has forfeited this race, so we're going to move on to race 2 here.
So GG to GamingWhileDad for the attempt on race 1, but once again, it is McBobX that is the victor of our first race. We will have our second race available shortly, so hang tight everyone. Prepare for race 2 out of our best of 3 match.
While we're taking care of things here in the background, folks, I want to thank everyone here who's coming out for this early afternoon, Sunday afternoon race between GamingWhileDad and McBobX. This is a best of 3 set, as we are as it here in the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament for Speedgaming Live 2023. We are doing group stage round robin, followed by a single elimination tournament. So there's still a lot of matches to take place in the group stages, with a lot of matches still to come. Right now on our schedule, though, the next scheduled match for the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament is taking place August 24th, which is Thursday at 1 p.m. And that's going to feature one of our runners here, McBobX, going up against Charlie Boy. So 1 p.m. August 24th is our next scheduled match. And then late Saturday night, August 25th, 11 p.m. Eastern, I'm taking on Matt Philly in Group A. And then on Sunday afternoon, August 26th at 3 p.m., Charlie Boy will take on GamingWhileDad. So look forward to those matchups coming up in this tournament. And thank you all for coming out this afternoon, and thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us once again this year for the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament.
Expected for Speedgaming Live 2023. Since it is an official match for SGL, there is a prize pool available, and if you feel like donating to add to that prize pool, feel free to do so. If we do, and we have enough donations in order to get that prize pool up, we may have an extra bonus for our runners as the prize pool continues to rise. So keep that in mind. As we should be getting our runners up and ready in a short moment.
Yep, the gates have been released, and the game 2 of this best of 3 matchup between GamingWhileDad and McBobX will be taking place here shortly. As hopefully GamingWhileDad can dust himself off and recover in this second race here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, right now this is basically our first full race meet for all of our runners in this particular group. Like we said, GamingWhileDad had a race between Senator Stama a little earlier, but had to postpone due to IRL situations, and their Game 3 match will be rescheduled accordingly, and we'll have that ready whenever it's ready. McBobX, his first full race as a whole, his first time in this tournament. But of course, as we mentioned before, he has zipless Mega Man 2 experience on his side, and we've seen that coming to work in the randomizer race. So we're going to see who's going to get that very first and important victory within this group.
And we see both the runners going the expected route of picking a Flash or Quick Burst, in this case Flashman, as that's a rather ominous track. I don't know this one.
Yes, there are some tracks that even kind of blank to me, so even I don't know this one. I need to up my VGM knowledge. I know a group of VGM enthusiasts that will probably be sad hearing me say something like that, but that's completely beside the point right now. As GamingWhileDad, the blocky just wasn't giving him the time of day to even give him a pass.
No.
McBobX is still moving forward, moving on through the rest of the stage.
Yeah,
but
while Dad was dealing with that blocky, there's the blocky at the end of that first section that was blocking, no pun intended, the way, and so he skinned the cat to get around him. I don't know if GamingWhileDad would do the same thing here. Oh, he does. Well done.
He still got to survive what's coming up in order to... There we go. Safe at the checkpoint. So regardless if he dies again, he will come back here. I won't say that the worst of it is behind him, but definitely making the checkpoint is a little bit of a sigh of relief, as McBobX, after getting his E-Tank, is going to the Flashman room, and we have a Bubbleman sighting.
He's not gonna play footsies with him, but this Bubbleman is soft weak to the Buster, and just like that, down it goes. And we get an item 2 out of Flashman stage this time around, which is nice to see. I assume we're going to Quickman next? Yes, going to Quickman next on McBobX.
GamingWhileDad is about to go into the Bubble Man fight here.
Meanwhile,
not quite the right stage for it, but sure, we'll take it. If Airman is here, then I'll count this as appropriate. But for right now, have fun with some can't defeat Airman while going through. Well, can't defeat the Fan Fiend. That's close enough.
That's definitely one of those cases where the Fan Fiend will defeat you. I know from experience all too well that Fan Fiend will get you if you don't jump on the screen before. So just instinctually, when I get to that screen, I jump. And this time, McBobX is not going to do it. He's probably going to forsake that. Nope. Using the iframes to sneak through the quick beam there. It still gets his light back and he gets his E-Tank.
Not quite completely bouncing out the death that GamingWhileDad took, but definitely will even things out a little bit as GamingWhileDad wisely takes the jump over and won't even have to worry about the Fan Fiend on that particular screen getting that safety sludge along the way. Meanwhile, McBobX taking care of our force beam area is always the same, so you should always know how to get by that. So I'm expecting McBobX to get through that area pretty cleanly. And let's see how GamingWhileDad does as he follows suit.
Come on, just for once, be correct, Randomizer. Just give us what we want for a boss in this stage.
Well, we're about to find out as McBobX is our first of our runners to go into Quickman's room. We're gonna see if the rando gods smile upon us and give us an Airman.
No, that's not a smile at all. That's a Metal Man. His buster's soft, which is nice, but you know what? That's not what we want at all. But you know, McBobX does the job and dumpsters him. We don't get an. Oh, we did get item 3 out of Quickman stage.
And Ollie feeling the urge thanks to the music, he goes straight to Airman stage and
so we go to Airman stage, get the appropriate. We go to Quickman stage to get can't beat Airman. Get Metal Man at the end of it. Go to Airman stage and get Metal Man's theme out of it. Thanks, game.
As we all know, every single randomizer has a sense of humor. We've seen that many times around, but anyway, we got a little bit of a deviation. GamingWhileDad sticking to what we like to say is a little bit of the normal route, going to Bubble. Ooh, got hesitate when he saw the crab and got a little skittish, falling down the pit as a consequence.
Yeah, as he's going through. Because we've frozen the background, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it until we see the actual water. Prune juice falls.
Meanwhile, McBobX going through the second half of Airman stage. Probably could have tried item 2 here, but yeah, we have Fan Fiends here. Item 2 would have been worthless here if he hadn't used it earlier.
I don't think he did. I think he just walks right through it, which, considering the pace he went on for this Airman stage, was not too bad, as he's already in the ball store where we get ourselves a Crash Man.
He's a short hopper, moves fast, but at least he's not completely... Wait. No, he's not all that aggressive. We do have an aggro Crash that will continually spawn bombs regardless if a bomb is on the screen already, but regardless of the matter, it was still a very easy Crash Man to deal with. And McBobX moves on to his next stage.
He's looking around to see what he wants to do. Now he's going to choose this stage, choosing Bubble Man stage. I do appreciate the fact that that Crash Man came with an undo bomb. By the way, so now it's closing time in Bubble Man stage, and with color palette differences on both our runner screens. I guess we're gonna go with cranberries now. regardless, GamingWhileDad is entering the Bubble Man room door.
Let's see what Robot Masters is waiting in here, and we got a Quickman sighting. Quickman sporting a Kangaroo Jack outfit. Starting with the Metal Blaze not being as effective. Trying to hit with the Crash Bomb to see if it does any kind of damage, but Quickman being insanely nimble, picking off GamingWhileDad, but trying to get that hit on. Gotta start that fight all over again.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to see what the Crash Bombs would do to it, even though he definitely had 2 E-Tanks to use, but opted not to do it. Getting a little greedy there, I would say.
McBobX is following behind, about to go into the boss room of Bubble Man. Gotta have a Quickman to deal with in his own right, so we see how McBobX does in comparison to GWD.
Alright, again, no item out of Bubble Man stage, and GamingWhileDad now going to move on to Metal stage. Let's see how McBobX deals with Kangaroo Jack in Bubble Room, as he's just going to stick with the Buster himself as well and not check for weaknesses. He's getting pummeled for his efforts. And there we go, going to pop his own juice box. He's going to go as a good check leave, which I always think is a great idea against Quickman to check. But either way, he does finish him with the Buster and takes down Quickman in Bubble Room. So that is 4 on McBobX's side. He's going to move. He's going to follow in GamingWhileDad's footsteps right now as he moves into Metal Man stage as well. Just to keep in mind that GamingWhileDad only has 3 Robot Masters down, where McBobX has 4. And more vanilla Mega Man 2 music in this seed, even though it's in the wrong stage. But regardless, this is one of those layouts in Metal Man stage I like to call it the flesh layout for it, because it is just awful.
Well, what's also awful is there was a Fan Fiend sighting in the second half of Metal, so this jump that GamingWhileDad is about to make, oh, he's gonna take the lower route, gonna take the safety. Not too bad of an idea. I'm pretty sure he's gonna just got a little too far ahead, but regardless,
I've seen him do that strap before, and he didn't make it. McBobX pulling out his item too. He's gonna find out about the Fan Feed now himself.
But I also was able to take a peek at what was at that ledge. There is a Fan Fiend at that jump. So whether it was GamingWhileDad kind of stumbling, moving a little bit ahead to item 2, or the Fan Fiend just appearing just for that brief moment, making him fall, it's only your guess, as McBobX is about to do the exact same thing, but was able to actually navigate the area, Fan Fiend and all, and is able to continue on the rest of GamingWhileDad again, caught by the Fan Fiends again. The Spanish Inquisition striking out of nowhere, not expected, taking GamingWhileDad and forcing a game over.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we got Flashman on the conveyor belt again, but he's Buster Soft as well. And he's taking more of a slow walk there, as opposed to running around. But either way, he was also a jumping boy, but he goes down rather easy, as McBobX is now going to go for a walk in the woods, moving on to Woodman stage.
The start of Woodman stage a little bit clustered. A lot of enemies, got some crushers along the way. Fortunately, crushers are Buster susceptible. Note in vanilla that crushers are usually 100% Buster immune. Thanks to the machinations of the randomizer, they're now able to be shot down. So, and was that a charge heat or a supercharge? Was that supercharge?
That's supercharge. As a supercharge heat, they're going to one-shot our hot dogs here. So, that's nice to see.
2 pips per charge heat, not too bad. Could be one shot, but I would say it's a fair ammo consumption for a supercharged heat. And McBobX is basically making it his best friend, keeping it on hand for what's going to be at the top of the treehouse.
Meanwhile, we got blockies in the way in the treehouse, as well as pop tops. I got this bad habit where I was like, you got to try weapons on blockies when they're not one-hitter quitters. And usually Crash is my one weapon I go to all the time for blockies.
Agreed. Crash is usually my go-to, but of course, any weapon that probably would be one shot is like a leaf shield, an atomic fire, stuff like that. That probably more than likely will one shot blockies if they take more than one unit of damage to destroy. Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad does get some revenge in Metal Man stage, taking out the easy to deal with Flash, and is now going to Heatman, having items 2 and item 3 available. Well, probably would prefer to have item 1 available as opposed to item 3, but item 3 can still get the job done just as much as we get an airman sighting in One Man's room.
Yeah, McBobX trying that heat just to see what it is. He's not Buster Soft. He should take it. He did not take his juice box. So it's not a Buster Soft Airman. I do like the fact this particular Airman has Needleman's body, but he's also got like a I would say more like an electric kind of Robot Master's headpiece.
Well, regardless of how it looks much more dead than it was a few moments ago. And moving on, going to Heatman stage, and we still haven't had item 1 found yet. So with item 1 at large, and majority of our Robot Masters done already, item 1 is either locked here or in Crash.
I mean, regardless, with just 2 and 3 on themselves, you can still navigate Heatman stage and Crashman stage relatively safely, and getting that energy definitely screwed up McBob's rhythm there, so that's an unfortunate death right there.
Yeah, right now, once again, GamingWhileDad falling a little bit behind, needs all the help he can give from McBobX, but stays a little too early, trying to anticipate the Yoku block appearing, and wound up mistiming it and falling to his death as a result.
Yeah, for some reason he got way too worried about the Springer enemy behind him, hitting him as opposed to waiting for the Yoku block to appear. So McBobX, again, a rather adept runner in the vanilla game, knows how to work these Yoku blocks as well as doing it zipless.
GamingWhileDad making very prudent use of item 3, using it to the last drop, finally able to get by the first portions of the Yoku block session, and of course with item 2 gained very early on, going to use it immediately to pretty much mitigate any kind of Yoku's block that comes hereafter. And of course McBobX gonna do the exact same. Both our runners about to be heading towards the Heatman boss room in relative short order.
Yeah, McBobX wisely aiming his item 2 a little lower so that when it flies across that extra life he could pick it up, because he was out of extra lives when he died here. He would be going right back to the beginning of this Heatman stage. Meanwhile, we got a Woodman sighting inside the Heat room.
Fairly durable heat, but it's a lot of slow falling leaves, so he's able to be picked off rather quickly as GamingWhileDad takes out Woodman.
There we go. Vanilla item 1.
So McBobX has one Robot Master to deal with in Crash. Excuse me. GamingWhileDad still has some work to do to try to catch up. Also, for those that are NES nuts, shout outs to Captain America and the Avengers. Captain America's theme from that game playing right now in Crashman stage.
I did not recognize this theme. I'm used to the arcade version, but I never really heard this version of the theme.
My brother used to rent that game a while back. I was never good at it. I was literally a wee boy when I was playing this. and my brother used to play this on the side, but the music really stood out, so I'm kind of glad this is in the randomizer. But speaking of randomizer shenanigans, we got McBobX using item 1 to get by those moving platforms, so you don't have to worry about any other shenanigans that would be in that room, and just continue on through the midpoint and continue on hoping to get through the crash climb and get to the Crash Man boss room in just a little bit.
McBobX masterfully using these item 1s to shorten his climb up the Crash Man here. I'm rather jealous of how expertly he was doing those jumps.
Once again, that Mega Man 2 experience coming in handy, transferring all that knowledge to the randomizer. But of course, the randomizer can, at any given time, can just say to that experience, no, and you just wind up just getting completely decimated. That's what the randomizer can do. But for right now, McBobX is handling things like a champ. Meanwhile, Crash Man on GamingWhileDad's screen, trying to find a weakness, doing a little bit of an extensive dig. Not really finding much to work with. Meanwhile, McBobX is dealing with our final Robot Master, which is Heat. And he's yep, probably one of the better outcomes. At least it'd be a quicker fight. But Heat Man, trying to make McBob's life a little bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I was worried about that part right there. It's like, you better take that 2 spots. But I didn't say it in time, in trying to send it to his mind. But, you know, it is what it is. He's going to have to restart the fight. And he's going to do some weapon weakness, which is interesting.
Yeah, that, and take the mind. Remember, he took that one up in Heatman's stage. That wound up being a major boon for him, even though he has an extra life left now.
I legit thought there he was about to check Time Stopper, which could be for one Robot Master and one Robot Master only. But he doesn't check it. He's going to stick with the Buster, as the other weapons are no bueno for Heatman. But he has learned his lesson and has got the timing down, it looks like now, finally, for this Heatman. And takes him down all the same.
Yeah, see in the chat, talk about turbo move for Heat. I like to call that kind of heat literally rapid fire due to his speed in which he does his heat tackles. Meanwhile, Dr. Mario, once again on the run for illegal surgical procedures, is going to be our Wily analog, going to the Temple of Fiends. Out in the distance,
you know, it seems appropriate. An Italian with his malpractice having a fiendish castle at his disposal.
But you know what that time is? Again, we got a runner into the Wily stages. So you know what that means? We got a dragon to guess. So you got a color, you got a weakness, and you got a sprite to guess. Once again, the sprites that we have is our vanilla dragon. We have I'm gonna call it a pointy eyes dragon from now on, because it doesn't look like Shades anymore, especially since we have a more serious Sage dragon that we have a palette for now. Of course, we have our Dragoncorn with the unicorn horn, our Oats dragon, and the Swag dragon for your sprite options. Pick one, pick a color, and pick a death for McBobX, as the Joes just pretty much overwhelmed them.
Yeah, he is trying to use item 2 there near the end to get over the last hurdle. But these Mechdos are actually Buster immune, which is also a bit of a nuisance. But, you know, he's definitely suffered a bit as far as losing weapon energy. Now, I'm not trying to jinx him or foreshadow anything here, folks, but if I were him and I got through Wily 1 here with what I have, I might consider taking that game over with those 0 lives right now when we get to Wily 2, but he's got to get there first.
Yeah, beat up, banged, and bruised. He's trying to make through this first stretch of Wily 1 in one piece. Able to do so, finally able to make the checkpoint, but he does have no lives. An accidental death here could be catastrophic, as, like I said, GamingWhileDad is a little bit behind, fighting off this airman using Bubble, which technically, as far as damage go, isn't all that effective, but he's making it work, going back to the Buster and doing it for the finishing blow.
Meanwhile, we didn't put our colors up. I'm gonna go Grimace Purple, weak to metal.
Classic Green Dragon, gonna be Dragon Corn, is gonna be weak to Bubbles.
Oats Dragon. I forgot to throw that in. Oats Dragon. Alright, well, we're about to find out what this dragon actually looks like now here in a brief moment as GamingWhileDad is starting their Crashman climb. McBobX got to be a little careful. He is low on life. He does have 3 juice boxes on hand. And here's our dragon. Gosh darn it.
That is a blue shades dragon.
You mean I should have picked my colors from the first turn? Oh my goodness, that's even worse.
It's not a deep blue. It's not a deep blue, but it's definitely a shade of blue. That is a true blue dragon.
True blue. Yeah, I called it the first game, but I didn't call it this game because we were in a rush. But at least chat doesn't get to call me a witch this time.
Oh, and my heart just flutters. I'm hearing Jetman from Rokochan. Shoutouts to that game, one of my first speed games. So hearing things like this has a soft spot in my heart. As McBobX goes through Wally 2 in earnest, doing the classic item 2 fly, getting the E-Tank and trying to go through the area as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad still trucking along as best as he could, avoiding these shaky maker pickaxe construction workers, and just does he have item 1? Item 1 left?
He does have item 1, but I don't think he's very. I don't mean to. I guess he's not used to just trucking right on through that section with item 1.
Well, whatever the reason may be, he was still able to get through those moving platform rooms and makes it to the checkpoint. Meanwhile, McBobX nearly done with the stage, about to deal with a Pico-Pico-kun fight. Pico-Pico-kun does have a set of differentiating sprite, but there is one dangerous one that you really don't want to see.
And we're not seeing that one. We get to see the blobs this time.
And back-to-back Buster Week Wally bosses.
Sadly, our friend Kami is in the other Mega Man tournament, but hey, you know what? That's his prerogative.
But yeah, you love to see weaknesses like these. With the randomizer being as it is, weapon consumption is always an important and vital attribute to consider in these randomizer races. So having even one Wily boss being weak to Buster, when there's only a chance that it could be Buster weak, is very beneficial. So having 2 right off the bat, pretty good for weapon uses, as I would like to believe.
Here we go with some more Master Blaster.
Yep, that would be area 2. As we go into Wally 3, by searching for our wall weakness, trying to get some goodies, find that quick boomerang does the job.
Yeah, I think he would have preferred to have that E-Tank instead, but he is going to keep trucking on through, as he decided not to listen to my ideas, which is the right thing to do.
Going through the gray gruel infested waters of Wally 3, gonna make the dive. Of course, I should suspect there should be no trouble for McBobX. Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad finishing off Crash's stage, about to go into Wally 1. See how far he makes it, and once again, hoping for a McBob mistake to try to even things up.
Alright, we're gonna see what's it looks like we got Bowser on parade here in the Wily's Fortune, as we find this charge sheet immediately taking down the parade float there of Bowser, as we move on to Wily 4 now for McBobX.
GamingWhileDad dealing with the rough situation that McBobX had to deal with earlier, dealing with all these Joes, opting to do quick boomerang to try to mitigate all the troubles. Meanwhile, McBobX going to Wally 4 with some Mega Man 2 Game Boy title / final stage music as our theme for the stage. Once again, this stage, for a couple of areas, has some randomized fake platforms, but we expect some item 2 usage. Yep, using item 2 to just ignore the possibilities of falling down those fake floors to begin with. And GamingWhileDad getting a very lucky health drop, getting beamed down by these Joes, hopefully able to continue and get to the Mecha Dragon immediately after.
Yep. Let's see if we get that other big. Yep, gets another big drop of health there as we enter our anxiety rooms here in Wily 4 here, and got some shrimp. We got a telly. Let's see. Those shrimp may not exactly be in their same spots in a couple rooms, but we're definitely about to find out here as McBob takes a bit of damage to get through that room, which is all the same. But you know, considering the enemy sets, it's to be expected. And we're about to find out what kind of whammy this third room has, and it is empty.
It's basically a rest stop. So McBobX just use item 2 to fly across the upper portions, and can probably use item 2 again to get by the rest of the area. And now it's just the final stretch before we get to the boo beams. McBobX does know that the boo beam walls are weak to the quick boomerang, so that removes a potential weakness for the boo beam turrets, as the crash walls and the boo beam turrets are never the same weakness.
Nope. So we're about to find out what these boomers are. He's gonna check the god weaknesses first for. Oh, that hurt. Yep. 2 leaf shields.
He's gonna use. Yep, you're gonna use the quick boomerangs to take care of a couple of these walls, but that's all he really needs. Well, he didn't have to really destroy the third one. Honestly, you don't have to destroy any walls at all, but it really doesn't matter. Whatever option you choose to get the job done as quick as possible, you take it, and that's what McBobX does.
Yep. So off to refights we go. Did we find Bubble again for the dragon on GamingWhileDad's side? We did. Down goes the dragon. Meanwhile, we got some, what's his name? Go ahead, Creed. I'm blanking on his name. I know this guy's name.
I do not know this guy that you're talking about.
Yeah,
So.
well, number one, this is from Undertale. Asgore, that's his name. This is Asgore's theme from Undertale.
I don't follow Undertale music that much aside from Megalovania that happens to always just be etched into my head, so I always appreciate the music dump, the music lore, but as you said, that's the thing that we got for this particular boss rush. And McBobX once again has another stranglehold on this particular race, so once again it's his race to lose. As what number Robot Master this is about to be?
That was 3, so we're up to 5 now. 4 now. As we got Woodman here waiting for us at the halfway point here for McBobX.
GamingWhileDad figuring out that the walls are quick boomerang weak as he gets his safety E-tank going on, hoping to get to the Pico units.
McBobX finding a great weakness with that air shooter for Crashman there as he moves on to Robot Master number.
I believe that should be 6.
Yeah, we're on 6.
And for those that don't know how the really big weaknesses work, there are 2 sets. There's a great weakness and an ultimate weakness. Technically, great weakness deals about 7 damage, so in easy mode it deals 14. While ultimate damage, I believe, does about 12 damage. So, regardless, in terms of easy mode setting, regardless if it's a great or ultimate weakness, it's still basically 2 shots a boss. But for like harder difficulties, it's still made 2 shot in normal difficulty, but it'll definitely 3 shot if it's a great weakness. Just for those weakness lore dumps.
And one more shot from McBobX on that heat, and he is done. We're about to take on the machine. Let's see if it's made out of paper mache. It is not. We upgraded to Linux, so we're going to check other weaknesses. We find the supercharged heat for the first part of the machine. What about the second part? really wanted that energy, and it is for the second part. He better take a juice box here, just to be safe. He's got 4 of them. There we go. And down goes the machine for McBobX.
Yep, he being basically the god weakness for this fate, for the Wild Machine being weak to both phases. McBobX now done with the machine, going on to Victory Road, where whatever alien is going to be is awaiting for him. 1 alien, 1 weakness. That's all that's left.
Yeah, looks like McBobX is deciding to be a little safe and refilling his charged heat just in case it's that. And he's gonna walk through this section. I guess he's gonna check check to see if the alien's weak to heat first, as he's sitting right on it. It just because I need to get this out of my head, because I gotta say it. I tend to use, if I go left, I tend to pull out flash so that I can get through that hallway much quicker to stop the drips. Either way, we're dealing with the Frank and Wiley alien again. I don't think that heat. Oh, it did, and it was charged heat for the alien.
Very fortunate decision for McBobX to take that energy when he had the chance, and it paid off in a big way. McBobX going 2-0 against GamingWhileDad, finishing with official racetime.gg time of 33 minutes and 7 seconds, solidifying his first win in his group.
And it looks like, did he? No, not yet. I thought for a moment that looks like GamingWhileDad is going to truck along here. Let's see if we can get McBobX into the booth here for a post-race interview. Alright, folks, so McBobX, GamingWhileDad is in Wily 4 dealing with their anxiety rooms here. We know this first room is actually the most treacherous of the 4, while the other 3 are rather tame. And joining us right now in the booth is the winner of this race, McBobX. How you doing, sir?
Hello, I'm doing good. That was a fun race. It was great. It was great overall.
Yeah, 33.
Lots of hiccups there.
Well, considering you, I for myself, I see you mostly do the vanilla. This is your first go around trying this randomizer. So, what are your thoughts on the randomizer?
It's actually great. Mostly like randomizing stats and all that, like damage, weapons, and all that. It's good. It's just there were some tiny bits of, you know, when you necessarily have to refill, for example, or you need a specific weapon for a specific boss and you don't have your like enough energy, like what happened at the very end. But you know, I'm not gonna critique, like go ahead and say all that, but it's overall it's great. It makes the experience of Mega Man 2 more fun. That's all I can say. It just needs a little bit of getting used to it. I
mean, that's how it usually is. The way I always explain it to people when some Mega Man runners don't want to try the randomizer is Mega Man runners tend to be set in their motions because they're used to where things are, and it's all about movement. And if something messes up that movement, they get a little peeved. So
absolutely, like that's I think some of my deaths were just because it's usually a new layout, new gameplay. That's Mega Man. So once you get like you're used to a certain layout, and then you find out new enemies, like different damage and all that good stuff, it becomes like a different experience, and you just like it's like a first time getting used to it. So
yeah,
mostly it's fun. It's the most important part.
Yeah, it ends up coming down to it's like, okay, this. If you see certain enemy sets in certain stages, like, okay, this enemy set is here, what do I have to do to mitigate getting through this area now?
Yeah. Mostly, like, I think I just, like, this is the first time for me, like, trying Mega Man 2 Randomizer, and I'm happy with this. Like, I'm happy with this experience right now, how I'm doing. So yeah, aside from the deaths, like let's not talk about those. There were some really hefty deaths there that were costly a bit, but it was great, I guess.
Yeah, you shrugged on though, and you did get the win in this best of 3 set. So meanwhile, GamingWhileDad is starting their refights. So shout outs to GamingWhileDad trucking on. Trying to think if I got anything else to add. Creed, if you got anything.
Well, not too much. I just want to ask McBobX, how did your seeds go for these 2 seeds? What were your feelings about each of these seeds? Were there anything within these seeds that caught your eye? Anything that kind of felt like that you could have done better working through these 2 seeds? Just tell me what your mindset was going through as you done these 2 races.
Oh yeah, so okay, first seed was like, for the most part, it was a little bit like difficult in terms of strategies there. So I think I went to Crashman. I made it last, and I went to it with item 2, so kind of changed strategies a bit. It was like, that's just an example. Like there were lots of strategies there that I would have went for if I figured them out before I die. So for example, how can, like, I think like when you get those chicken enemies, kind of they replay, like they keep coming for a long time. I just forget to use an extra weapon, then like I just go ahead with Buster, and then I fall off. Then after that, like I just realize that I need to switch to a certain weapon, maybe to make my life easier. So these kind of things, I just like getting used to it, while I'm playing. So first seed was a bit difficult in terms of enemies spawning. Second seed was fine. I think wily stages were great on second seed, mostly because I think Dragon and Picos were weak to Buster, and that were really significantly significantly better. It just made the fight a lot more smoother, and I didn't even need to E-tank. Usually I go with the mindset of conserving 4 E-tanks before I go to wily stages. But yeah, I ended up having access and E-tanks, and that's great. First seed, it was like normal, and I'm just glad that we didn't get the disappearing Picos. That was a plus, so that's great. But overall, like first seed had some strategy issues. Second seed was smoother, aside from the first death in Wily 1, which I died before I even realized that I need to use the charged heat. So that's kind of things that I think I'm learning from this experience. So next race, I hope I don't do same mistake. But overall, like it was like for the most part, it was fine for like gameplay wise. I didn't face like tragic hiccups, tragic disasters there, like that would make me significantly behind. But yeah, overall, like great seeds. First one being difficult a bit, second one being good. And yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, to your point about weapons, one of the things you probably, and you alluded to it already, there's just times you just need to always make sure to use your weapons. The randomizer pretty much almost emphasized knowing when and how to use the weapons, especially when enemies get very, very tanky and not usable for quick buster kills. So knowing which weapons are good for specific areas is always key to try to move on as quick as possible in these kinds of race situations. Also, before you decide to head out, as we mentioned, you are a vanilla Mega Man 2 runner, preferably on the zipless side. Tell me, how did that translate from your gameplay to the randomizer, or is there any kind of translation at all thanks to how the randomization shuffles and all the shenanigans that come with it takes into your mindset?
Okay, so vanilla zipless is definitely like different completely, but like considering that this is also a zipless tournament, it did translate a bit, like mostly routing. So I go with the mindset of using some strats that I can consistently do in zipless and try to, whenever possible, apply them in randomizer. For instance, the item to usage in Metalman, my always like my strategy would be like I never go to Metalman, for example, unless I have item 2, because that makes the corridor, or not the corridor, the last conveyor part significantly easier. So I try to kind of do that. I go like my route would be like flash, quick, air, bubble. Then if I have item 2, metal. If not, I just go to wood. And then I go to metal, then heat and crash, because, well, you definitely need the item 2 as well in Yoko section in Heatman. So kind of prioritize stages where you can use items, then go to those where you can use items. And I think that mostly paid off, you know, for the routing. And then on wider stages, well, wider stages are completely different. There were some spots, for example, I tried to attempt to use the flash stopper on the corridor on YD2. That can sometimes like help pass through, like it did, like I don't know if it was like in those seats, but I did have like flash the cloud enemies that appear there, and somehow I managed to go under them. So that kind of thinking going from vanilla to a randomizer can still apply, except that, you know, we know that enemies there can be a little bit disturbing. But yeah, that's how I try to approach both categories, I'd say, or both sides, to maybe play, like, do, you know, deliver a good speed run, I'd say.
And while you were explaining the translation between vanilla zipless and in the randomizer, GG's to GamingWhileDad coming in with an official race time.gg time of 43 minutes and 38 seconds. It was a struggle, but we like to encourage our runners to try to complete their C's as much as possible. So GG's to GamingWhileDad as we try to get him in for an interview. The invite, well, speaking of the invite, there he is. GWD, how you feeling? Congratulations on finishing. Even though while it's a losing effort, we still respect the effort. How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. It's just I've been struggling with the robo stages recently, and that's just tanked me.
Yeah, you had some issues throughout the stage. Unfortunately, accumulated a couple of game overs along the way, but regardless of the matter, you still just powered through it. Took what the randomizer threw at you, and you were able to finish at least the second seed. You forfeit the first as a means to move on to this point in the tournament. But once again, still able to finish on this. Tell us how you feeling about these seeds, mindsets, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Well, I'm liking them. I just, I need to practice more. I didn't have a lot of time to practice. I joined the tournament late, so I'll definitely be able to do better next year.
Well, you still got some races left in you, so next year hadn't quite come up just yet. You still got a couple of races, but you can use this time to at least try to reflect on whatever mistakes, try to improve in between races, and try to figure out your next plan of action while you get your next schedule races set up. But once again, we appreciate you coming in and joining the tournament. Once again, we oftentimes we stress this. These are We do not require a skill cap. It's all skill levels. Just come in and do what you do. Regardless if you're a level of McBobX's caliber or a level of GWD's caliber, we just want people to race and enjoy the randomizer. And we appreciate both of you coming in and just doing your thing and entertain everyone in the meantime.
Well, I appreciate it. It's definitely been fun. I've been looking forward to do this since I missed out in the 2020 tournament, so definitely having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a really great experience.
Well, I believe that for the most part, unless there's anything else, do you have any shout-outs to distribute as we close things out and finish things, wrap things up?
Well, I can go first, I guess. Yeah, I would say thanks everyone for the race. Thanks for organizing. That was a really great fun moments. Like you said, Creed, I'd say I just joined here. I'm not even willing to, I'm not thinking about winning or losing or all that. I just want to have fun. I just want to experience racing within with new settings and all that. I'd say GG, GamingWhileDad or GWD. You played well, I guess. I gotta rewatch the race. Hiccups happen, but yeah, that was that's mostly what, just need to have fun, and that's it. Have a great experience. And yeah, GG's, thanks for hosting, thanks for everything, and yeah, that's it. That I'm gonna hop off from here.
All right, take care, McBobX, and we'll see you next time. Meanwhile, GamingWhileDad, do you have anything to say, final words and such?
Well, basically the same thing. Shout out to everyone who's putting this together, commentating, tracking, doing all the 9 yards, and want to shout out Charlie Boy for always sitting there, always telling me doesn't matter, just play, you'll have fun, and always pushing me to do my best.
Well said. So, of course, first off, once again, we'd like to thank Speedgaming for allowing us to showcase the randomizer in a tournament setting yet again. Once again, this is the Mega Man 2 randomizer tournament for Speedgaming Live 2003. Once again, shout outs to our runners, GamingWhileDad and McBobX, for a fantastic show. Shout outs to the Congress, which is myself and of course Siberian Bull 9, who I will graciously thank. Also is our tournament organizer for this year to help set things up. So once again, SB, always a pleasure to be working with you.
It's always fun to come do these things, and it just happened that someone needed to pick up the torch, and I just happened to say, yeah, you know what, I'll do it. So here we are, another year of Mega Man 2 Randomizer, and not even just another year of Mega Man 2 Randomizer, Mega Man 2 Randomizer in Speedgaming Live 2023. So here's to hope that we go from online to offline. But you know what, that's another dream.
And of course, this is still Speedgaming Live. Once again, we do have a prize pool available. If we can get enough monetary donations for this tournament, we can bump up our bonus prize pay grade to better amounts than what we have right now. But like I said, it's just the fact that we are being represented in this particular SGL event. We're honored and glad to be a part of it. And of course, thanks to all the people that made the Mega Man 2 randomizer possible. Of course, Duckfist being the originator, the creator of the randomizer to begin with, and all of the community members. I won't name everyone, but you know who you are, that took up the arms when Duckfist stepped back from updating the randomizer to get to as good as it is right now. I think right now this is the best that the randomizer has been in the many years that it's been available. So very, very happy to see the Mega Man 2 randomizer progress as it is right now. But until then, for Siberian Bull 9, keep your eyes on the schedule for further Mega Man 2 randomizer races on the Speed Gaming chain of channels on Twitch. And with that, for Siberian Bull 9, this is your boy LV Creed here, wishing everyone a good morning, evening, and afternoon. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you the next time. Take care, everyone.